And when I turned up, I think I had £3,000 credit card debt, and I'd borrowed £800 from my mum to buy a suit.
Do you like risk?
I never felt safe in that role. How much money can I make? And he went, £200,000 a year. And I went, did I enjoy it? No, I hated it for 2 years.
What happened for you to stop?
We lost my dad earlier this year. We will be potentially saving lives and helping people live better and longer.
Today we have a special interview of Mark Boyce. Mark's been in Dubai for quite a few years now, started with nothing, came into finance, was a DJ before in the UK, started in wealth management, became one of the top guys in wealth management, and is now starting his clinic. Mark's gonna show us today how to open his business, how to open a longevity clinic in Dubai with no money and with a lot of challenges. All right, Mark, so tell me a little bit about the clinic. How long has it actually, when are you open up?
We're probably going to be open by early to mid next week. Project's taken about a year from conception through to this stage that we're at now, which is just finishing the snagging for the fit out. And DHA obviously still need to sign off on our setup, if you like, and to make sure we've got all the things in the right places and the building's up to standard and the equipment's up to standard and all these different things that they check, which is most likely going to be on Friday.
I love the branding.
Yes. I hear some bias in that comment, to be fair. Me too.
Company.
We're walking now into the garden, and you'll have to excuse, obviously, we're not quite set up here because there's still a little bit of painting to do on the olive tree, so it won't look like this.
Well, it doesn't look too shabby, to be honest, already.
It's almost there,
yeah.
Almost there. But I did unpack everything a little bit prematurely, and now it all ended up getting dusty, but
wow, man, this is a really nice area. What are you going to do with this?
Well, I want to try and create an environment where it's not just a clinic that... I think clinics at the moment have got this feel where, you just want to go in and get out. You want to go in and get your stuff done.
Yeah.
A spa, maybe people will stay in,
yeah.
obviously, because they're quite nice. And what we're trying to create with this building is a place whereby if you're a client and you're around, come and use the meeting, come and use our Wi-Fi, come and use our coffee machine. Everything's complimentary for clients. So I want to try and create a bit of a workspace where people maybe come do meetings, they get, that type of environment. If it doesn't pan out like that, people still use it just transactionally to do their procedures and consultations, and it's just a nice big garden for me. We were going to put the recovery suite inside, but my management consultant had an idea. If we put our recovery suite outside, you get the benefits when you get out of the ice bath of actually standing in the natural light, which is the best time to absorb all your vitamin D, right?
Yeah.
According to my doctors. So out here, we're gonna do something here. I don't know whether it's gonna be raised up somehow, and we're gonna have a hybrid sauna, so infrared and normal sauna.
Nice.
Outdoor shower, small changing rooms, and the ice bath.
Well, you're going to see me quite often because sauna, cold lunch, this is what I do all the
If
time.
you want to do a business meeting with me, my friend, I'll probably be in the sauna or the ice bath.
Yes, okay, then that's what I like to hear.
So we are stepping now into the cafe, Sigma Cafe, where everything is going to be complimentary for clients. So if they're here, teas and coffees, actually, I will show you the menu, which will end up being on the wall as it stands right now. So cacao, matcha, pressed juice, infused water. We've teamed up with
nice.
a company called Essentially Juices. I don't know if you've heard of them or seen them.
Yeah, I have.
The owner is a friend of mine, and we will provide that for free for people that are going to be here.
That's lovely.
The coffees, the milks. So yeah, exactly. I want it to feel a bit more, obviously it's still a clinic, right? But I want it to feel a bit more like a home where people actually might want to spend a little bit of time. Reception area, signage still needs to go up. So these rooms are nice and boring, staff room and storage facility. This is where the people will wait that are having their consultations upstairs. And so it's like a second waiting area. Part of Sigma Shop. So we teamed up to start with Circadia, our skin care range. And my associate director, Lucy, is very big on chemical-free type products. So it's not just your standard stuff. It's a really, really good brand. Zoe Skin is the second one. Probably best to let her explain why she picked these brands. Biogena are, we think, one of the best supplement providers that you can get. So we will end up having more. Eventually we'll have like 2 or 3, and if you come and get your consultation done with us, we'll be personalizing the supplementation. So it would be, okay, Biogena is best for this, and then this company is best for this. So you might have your fish oils from Life Extension. You might have your vitamin D and K from Biogena, and then from Pro Health you could have your NMN, struggle to say that every time, resveratrol or wellness greens or whatever it might be. But to start with, we've started with Biogena. Where it starts getting more interesting is the consultation rooms. Okay. So in a clinic, consultation rooms are the bigger ones where the doctors would have their desk, and then the treatment rooms are, there's no desk where the doctors would sit, they're just for the treatments. So here, and this is not the final layout, the bed's in the right position. I need to just move the desk around, and I wasn't supervising yesterday when they finished up, so the things are in the wrong places, but...
This looks high-end, mate. This is proper, good renovation, good quality, nice fit out, nice furniture. This looks really pro.
Premium brand, everything about it is premium, from the branding to the marketing and the advertising, through to, you know, we had an option, you know, you can get beds from China for, you know, this much money, which they're still not cheap, right? They're still good beds and they would have been amazing. Or you can get Lemmy beds from Italy with triple memory foam and God knows what else it does actually, Bluetooth connections, smells and heat and all that. So, you know, my point is this is like the Ferrari of clinic beds, and you can tell.
Good stuff.
I'm trying to, with the clinic, obviously make sure from the look, you know, then if you think about the senses, right, you've got how things look, you've got how things then feel, how things smell, how things, you know. So I want people to be having treatments and consultations and actually sitting in the bed feeling like they're floating, if you like. Try to not get anything that's not premium. So we didn't want it, hence why it's mostly gone over budget.
Yes, based on the quality of the fit out, I'm not surprised, mate.
So we have here, this was going to be the recovery suite, where we had plans for the ice bath, sauna, ice bath, red light therapy, shower and changing rooms. Yeah. But the DHA were not as big a fans of having changing rooms in it, so I'm still going, this is most likely going to end up just being a nice large changing rooms, and I still need to finalize what we're actually going to do with this room.
You got to optimize your workspace, bud. Like optimize as much as you can.
This room would be for a treatment, so you would get your IV. And this is, I haven't quite figured out how to do this yet, but these arms, so you could be having a massage and you can actually just drop your arms down, and the position is so much more comfortable than having your arms up here. So it's the little things, but they would get IVs in here or have a facial or what else are they doing here? Yeah, IVs and facials mainly. One of the things I like about business is the brainstorming part. It's what can I do with this space? And, you know, obviously there's certain limitations on what you can and can't do because of access for people of determination and these types of things. So I wanted to start with the recovery room, which I showed you inside, that is now going into the garden, the recovery garden. I would love this to be a recovery roof. Ice baths and saunas all the way around, different temperatures. So you have your infrared and you'll have your normal one. Then you'll have an ice bath at 15 degrees that you can sit in and chill. Then you'll have one at 8 that you can probably do 5 to 8 minutes in. Then you'll have your 3 one, which you're kind of in and out of. Plus I can obviously rent out the space, wellness parties, DJ, speakers, you know, yoga, gym sessions, whatever it might be.
No, I love stories and I love a hero journey. So take us a little bit back. I want to know a little bit more about where's this drive of entrepreneurship really come from for you?
I like to build things. I like to create things. And one of the things that I like about entrepreneurship is the freedom that it gives you. It matches my risk profile. I'm happy to take risks. Working for a company or setting up a company in yourself obviously comes with no salary, right? It's not a salaried role. But for me, that's more exciting because for me, that's uncapped earning potential. If you want to be successful and you want to have a beautiful life and you want to travel and see the world and have the freedom, the only real job that springs to mind is being a business owner. That's where it all kind of came from. It matches my risk profile, it matches my personality, and matches my work ethic.
Is it true that you started working at 13 or 14 years?
Where it started was actually when I was about 9. And I went to school one day and my friend Richard had a pair of trainers on and he was wearing Nikes or Reeboks, I think Reeboks. And I went home and said to my mum, I want some Reeboks. And I'm wearing Gola trainers from the warehouse, you know, back then my mum and dad had good jobs, but they also had 3 kids and a nice house and things like that, right? So I was like, Mum said to me, you need to do some work then. But at the time I was quite a good swimmer, so I was swimming 7 or 8, 9 times a week as a 10-year-old, right?
Jesus.
Yeah, so the system in the UK, they burn you out by the time you hit 16. You're just done, like you finish. Yeah, you've had enough of water and you never want to swim again. So it wasn't until I was about 13, 14 that I decided, right, swimming's, I'm never going to be a world champion, so now it's time to get a job. So I got 2 to start with. I was delivering milk around the village and where I'm from, just paying me like 12 to 13 pounds a week. I think maybe 18 if I worked the Saturday, and we got a free sausage roll. And I'll never forget the guy. He was so funny, John. It was brilliant. I was with my friends, and if you slept in, because you had to get up at 4:30, if you slept in, then you had to sit in the back of the van with the milk, and because there was only 2 chairs but 3 guys, and it was great. And then I also delivered newspapers. Now the newspapers that I delivered was the free one, and it was on a Wednesday, and I had to do the whole right-hand side of my estate, which was like 300 houses or whatever. So I managed to get 300 newspapers on my shoulders, which is, I don't know, potentially where my trap started. But most people used to burn that newspaper. They'd say they delivered it because it was free. People didn't care, and they just used to go and dump it somewhere and take the money. But I couldn't do that. I don't have the moral compass for that. So I delivered every one of the papers. My mum used to drop me off, and I had a bag on one side and a bag on the other.
How much did that pay you?
Tenner or something back then,
Jesus.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I spent all of the money I earned when I was from maybe like 15 onwards on wanting to become a DJ. Now I'd work for 2 hours so I could buy one song because they were still £7 at the time. You know, they were expensive at the time, actual vinyls.
Yeah.
But after I finished in the delivering papers and milk, I effectively went and started working in a restaurant. My friend got me a job in the restaurant, and you called a pot wash. You washed the dishes. And then I ended up being a waiter. And then I went to the kitchen, did a little bit of chefing, and then I was obviously into my health and fitness at the time, but I was working in the gym in the city centre, and I would probably wake up about midday because I was getting into bed quite late. Then I'd go to the gym, I'd train, then I would work and train people and look after the gym, and then I'd go on the weekends, I'd walk up into town and I would DJ all night. And then that was.
How old were you?
I remember the first time I DJed somewhere, I wasn't old enough to be there, I was 17. And I will remember it, I'll never forget it. The first time I DJed, I DJed a party at a bar, and they didn't have a DJ on a Thursday. And I said, I'd like to DJ on a Thursday, but I DJed with a friend of mine, and he said, let me negotiate the salary. I was like, what do you mean? I would have done it for a £5, you know, £5. If anybody watching us, about $7 US. I would have done it for free, probably. I would have paid them to do it. I loved it at the time. And I said, how much would we get for a gig like this? He went, I'll start at £100. I was like, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, £100. And then within like 6 months, I got headhunted by a lot of the bars. And I was then, at one point, I did, I think one New Year's Eve, I did 4 gigs in one night, a bar, a club, and then another late bar, and then an after party. And I was still living at home at like 18, 19 years old, but making like 500, £600 UK pounds a week with no rent to pay. Ask me where it went, I've no idea. It's easy come, easy go, isn't it, when you're a bit more entrepreneurial, I guess. I bought a house with it in the end, but my career really got going when I decided to move here.
Let's circle back just a tiny bit. You did swimming for quite a long time, right? And then got burned down by the system. What got you into swimming?
My parents took me one day and they put me in the pool and they said, swim over there. And I was like, okay. So I swam like this guy's all right. Then within about 6 months, I think I represented Wakefield or Leeds, I think, in the Yorkshire team event or something, which is like...
6 months?
Yeah, they were just like, swim there. And I'm like, okay, I'll swim there. And then they were like, okay, this guy's all right. I think when you do something, like if I said to you, you know I don't play paddle, right? But let's just say I went to play paddle with you tomorrow. And for some reason, I was just amazing at paddle. Am I going to go and play paddle again? 100% I'm going to go. So I think you buzz off things that you're good at. I'm not good at certain things. I don't really play football, so I'm not going to go back and punish myself when I know I'm not very good. But the things that you do, that you're good at, you tend to stick with. And it's a good sport to do to not get injured. It's a good sport to do, like I was watching my diet when I was 12, lifting weights at 13. Not heavy, but I was training 10 times a week, resting pulse rate 42 as a youngster. And like now, if I miss a gym session, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. And that's what got me. That's what I think that was the foundations for me to be fit and healthy. And I get my endorphins from keeping my pulse rate at 165 for 50 minutes. You know, because I don't know, something about it. I just know a lot of people don't have it up there to do it. So I do it. I run it here in summer outside because I don't know if I'm a bit of a sucker for punishment maybe, but so I think that's where it started. That got me into the, and my dad was a big part of it as well. Me and my dad used to have press-up competitions on the landing in the house, like 1 for 1.
Who won?
Dad always. Dad. I managed to beat him when he was here last, which was a couple of years back, but obviously he was 66 at the time.
It sounds unfair, mate.
At the time, I think I was trying to do that 100 press-up challenge, and bless him, he was like, "Come on, then let's." I'm like, "You do realise I'm going to whoop your, you know, backside?" But yeah, he's still.
You can say ass on the podcast. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I whooped his ass, and I was like, "This is revenge. It's taken me 40 years to get here, but this is revenge."
So Dad was into fitness?
Massively, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So as you know, we lost my dad earlier this year.
My condolences.
It was rough. 67, not young, not old really, slightly unexpected. And I mean, this place was opening anyway, right? Without that. But I think it made me realize more that, yes, it's great to have a business, and this is hopefully going to be very successful, but it is a preventative healthcare facility. You know, we will be potentially saving lives and helping people live better and longer. And Dad was one of those people that he used to love to train. He'd ride his bike to work, do a 12-hour shift, and then he met me and we did a 26-mile hike. Like he was a machine. But he looked great up until he got a little bit older. He had a six-pack at 40, and you know, but he was one of those people I fear that looked a lot healthier than he really was on the inside. He didn't smoke, he drank a little bit. Did he ever go get a checkup? Did he have his blood work done and manage his hormones and no. Did he take his vitamins? No. So I think that most of the time, if someone looks healthy, they most likely are quite healthy, but you never know what's going on the inside, which is, so one of the reasons that I'm even more motivated now than I was before was obviously that. But my dad, we used to sit-up competitions, press-up competitions, we'd go running together, and he was always trying to beat me, and he usually did, and there was no like, you know, I'll give Mark a chance today, I'll let him run and beat me and pretend that he no, you were punished. He would destroy you and then rub your nose in it and then laugh afterwards.
Yeah, competitive edge, greatness doesn't come from nothing. You got to be beaten.
I was in the gym yesterday with, and there was a guy there that had not been to class before, and I was doing the class.
Yep.
And we were on I found myself laughing because we're on the rowing machine and I'm watching his screen and not mine. Just thinking, I just need to go a couple of seconds faster than him and I'm going to be all right. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, he's there having a chat. So we're going on we did a running station and he's having a chat with me about something. And I'm just thinking, I just want to beat you, shut up. But no, I'm generally like that. If I can happily do something and not be too competitive. Like I've done jiu-jitsu for a while. I'm not doing it at the moment.
Why not?
It's more to do with the recovery. So with jiu-jitsu, it's tough. If you're in love with the sport, you don't care if you get injured. My friends will do it. They blow their knees. They have 3 months off and they come back. I'm thinking, I'm skiing next week. What if I blow my knee? That's not going to be good for the ski holiday that I've already paid for. So I'm a little bit more cautious, but I will happily, one of the reasons I don't do it at the moment, I will go back, is because I'm trying to get super fit. I'm trying to become a good runner. So like the whole functional fitness type, like an entrepreneur, I'm a bit of an all-rounder. I can read the financials, I can look at the accounts. I like to come up with ideas. So like I said, it suits my personality to be a bit of an all-rounder. And if you do a jiu-jitsu session in the evening and it's tough, I nearly got a safe driver home from jiu-jitsu one time.
Oh, really?
No joke, yeah. I got out and I was just exhausted.
Oh, Jesus.
You know when you run and you can breathe, and you know, you don't sometimes get a choice when you breathe when you're doing jiu-jitsu. And I did one competition and I won in Sharjah. It was quite a good competition. And the guy that I beat then went on to become the unofficial white belt world champion, which was quite interesting.
Wow.
So yeah, I will go back. But if you do a session in the evening, you ain't recovered for 9 a.m. to do another session next morning. Like I get there and I don't want to lift weights I'm just still pooped from the day before. So if I train now, my daily routine is I usually wake up, and this has not been the case for the last few months because of this place, but I usually wake up 6-ish and then I will do some sort of personal development. Alex Hormozy, Nick Bradley, I'll read a book or I'll do learn something about, you know, health and fitness and wellness. And then I will either take my dog to the beach or go get an ice bath or both. And then I will go to the gym and train at 10 a.m. every day. And I feel like that is the best time for performance because I'm awake. I've had my morning coffee, I've had one meal, but it's not yet the afternoon, so I'm not getting a little bit tired, I'm not over caffeined or whatever, and it's like the best time to get the best performance, I think, in the gym. And then from midday, everybody knows I'm free then I will be here, or I'll be in the office, or I'll be working on a project, or I'll be doing meetings like this. And that's generally my daily routine. And the reason I'm not doing jiu-jitsu at the moment is because it was just too much.
So, Mark, you started working young and you went into DJing. And you did that for what, 10 years?
10 years. I'll tell you why I did it for so long. I did it for so long because I never felt safe in that role. It's very, very competitive. Okay. It's all cash in hand with invoices and things, and you're not on a contract and you can be let go. And, it got to a point whereby just after the recession, I'm thinking I used to make £100 doing this gig 8 years ago, and now I'm still getting paid £100. And the bars and the bars used to be open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it was like Friday and Saturday, and Friday'd be quiet. And the scene changed, but I always used to say to friends, look, I don't feel safe doing this, I can't do this forever. And they said to me, I don't feel safe in my job, and I work for a bank. So it was kind of them, and they're like, you live the dream, and I'm like, okay, I can't live the dream. And it got to a stage where I was like, this is not a healthy job. Your body clock's all over the place, and there's plenty of alcohol involved, and it got to a stage whereby something happened, and that was time. Then at that point, I lost a gig and got a mortgage at the same time, and I was like, in my own words, it's time to grow up. But the sector that I went into was a sector that I probably couldn't have done in my early 20s. You can't sit and talk to someone about investing their life savings and managing their pensions and ISAs and portfolios when you've got a baby face, which I didn't really ever have a baby face. But still, you want to deal with 50-year-old, 60-year-old people with lots of cash. You probably don't want to be in your early 20s. So it worked out perfectly. And there's an interesting story about the deciding factor, actually, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I do want to hear it. What was the turning point in you going from DJing? Sorry, it's a big leap. I'm DJing and partying for my life. I'm a financial manager.
It was a friend of mine who became a mentor called Chris. My mum's house is there. His house was, mum and dad's house is still there. They're still neighbours. And he was living and working in Dubai, and we kept in touch when he was in the UK. And he started initially stockbroking and selling insurance, I think, and then moved into wealth management. And he was a wealth manager. He was managing a company here in Dubai. And I was at my mum's house, and I think it was like 9 a.m. I was just getting home from a really late gig, and I saw him drive up the street in a green Aston Martin. And I was like, right, this is that. Well, knocked on his door. I went, oh mate, I was going to call you today. I went, I haven't been to bed, but let's talk. And I said, what do you do? It's a bit like the scene off Wolf of Wall Street. What do you do? If you can show me your pace, no, I'm only joking. But I said,
I can work for you right now. Bye-bye.
What a great scene, by the way.
Yeah, great. I agree.
So he said, I'm in wealth management. I said, oh, okay, I don't really understand finance. He went, well, you learn that part of it. He said, but you need two halves of your brain. You can't just be a right brain, you can't just be a left brain, you can't just be super creative, you have to also be able to read some numbers and whatever else, But we have investment manager, we manage a relationship and give advice. And I said, okay, what do I need to be good at? He said, well, you need to have fairly good brain at school. You need to have done okay at school, or at least had the ability to do well at school if you weren't skiving off and things. I said, yeah, I did good, okay, pretty well. And he said, you need to be good with people, which you actually are. I said, you'd be good at it. I said, could you teach me? He went, yeah. I said, how much money can I make? And he went, £200,000 a year. And I went, first of all, I said, let's go. I'll go out and do a recce. I'll go and see if I like Dubai and all that stuff. And I ended up just staying. And when I turned up, I think I had £3,000 credit card debt, and I'd borrowed £800 from my mum to buy a suit, and I had 2 ties and 2 shirt combinations. And I lived in this spare room for a year or whatever.
So you came to Dubai with no money, no experience, to a new job with £3,000.
Yep. £3,000 of debt.
Of debt.
It was debt. It wasn't positive.
Of debt. And you lived in a spare room for a year.
I did.
So you like risk?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. Do you know what? There was only one moment. That role is a hard role, and anyone that's watching this that's done it will know. You have to sit with someone and say, "Give me your life savings to manage. You trust me." We don't take custodianship of the money, but they're going to listen to me and take their advice.
They're going to take your advice.
Yeah,
yes.
Making mistakes on that could be a costly mistake for them and a lesser retirement or whatever they're planning for, right? But yeah, I went from working for myself, wearing whatever I wanted, doing whatever I wanted, speaking to whoever I wanted, to waking up. One of my fears was actually, I don't think I can get out of bed at 7, but it turns out I can. I was getting in bed at 3 a.m. That's why I couldn't get up at 7. So yeah, it was, now you need to shave, and now you need to wear shoes, and now you need to, you know, you need to call people. My first 2 years, my intro into the world of wealth management was do your time. You're on the phone. So I was one of those annoying people that called you up. And the people here are lovely. You know, they get called all the time. They get called by all sorts of companies, but you know, they were never rude, never said anything not nice. They were just like, no, not today, thank you very much. So, but it can be a fun role, you know, but did I enjoy it? No, I hated it for 2 years. But I knew it was going to lead to the consultancy role if I did my exams and I put the effort in. And, you know, one of the reasons people fail in that role is because you could come over as the best financial advisor in the world, and if you are not good at getting in front of people, either through networking or through business development or whatever, you will fail. Right? Because you don't see anybody, so you can't make any money. Whereas one of the intros into that industry is if you can call people and convince them to meet you, those guys always become successful. The best guy, the guys now that run the companies are the ones that started on the telephones. So that was the transition. And there was a few moments in there that got a little bit hairy, but I started reading personal development, and I watched The Secret and Tony Robbins and all these different things. And I realized that everything I'd achieved up until that point, which was only a DJ career, but I had all the best gigs, and I had gigs that people would have killed me for and stabbed me in the back for, you know, so we did good. And it's a cutthroat, backstabby industry, like really, your mate would take your job, but yeah, do you know what I mean? And there was a couple of turning points, but I realized anything that I'd achieved up until that point, I had every confidence I was going to achieve. So I used to take a Saturday off and go into a club that I really wanted to work at and just hope the promoter was there. And then if the promoter was there, I'd give him a CD and say, Carl, listen to that. I'm really good, listen to that. So, and I realized that the things I'd achieved in life that I was proud of, I didn't ever have any doubt that I wasn't going to achieve them. I was convinced this is definitely happening, it's just a matter of time. And there was a point, like, if you were working for other companies as a junior wealth manager, a business development manager, they'd give you a few weeks and be like, look, you're not very good at this, are you? My boss gave me 3 months and I wasn't very good at it. And I was in an office which wasn't much bigger than where we're sitting. And the guys in there have been financial advisors for years. And the office is quiet and I'm on the phone and they can hear every word I'm saying. And I didn't know sales, I didn't know finance. So I was scared, I was nervous. And not at one point did my boss say to me, this ain't working, is it? But someone else did. And my job was literally to put him in front of people, to create meetings for him to go and see and talk to people. And we fell out a lot, you know, because I lived with him, he was my boss, and he ran the company, and he was my direct line manager all at the same time, and my friend. So yeah, we'd get home from work and there was nothing really to talk about. We talked about everything there was to talk about. But there was a day whereby I was thinking, this isn't working. This is now make or break. I've been at this for 3 months, I'm still not very good at it. And I remember we came across some, at the time, like there was no data protection laws or whatever. So I think we were working with a real estate agent, and the real estate agent was like, look, there's a list of people that bought a house from me, give them a call. So we had a cross agreement with that person, and obviously you don't do that nowadays, but back then you did. And I was like, I'm just gonna dial through this list. I'm just gonna ring everybody on it. There was hundreds of people on it, and I'm not gonna stop until I've done it. And then one person said yes. And then a few hours later, someone else said yes. And I'm like, it's happening. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about now, like, I'm like, I can actually do this. Even really good friends I've got now said to me, I can't believe you made it. And then I ended up being the best in that company.
How long did that take you?
That took me probably about 8 months to get any good at it, properly good at the role.
What was in the role? What kind of skills did you need for the role that you picked up while you were doing it? What was it? Just consistency and brute force?
Consistency and your pitch, your script. So if you sound like you're scripted and you sound like, so it's about having, and tenacity. So you need to call someone and not make out like you've just called 20 people that have all said no to you. So you have to speak to that person with as much tenacity and as much enthusiasm as the person before. And then you also have to know what you're talking about, because, you know, some of them would just say, right, what's the difference between this pension and that pension? Just trying to catch me out. But if you knew the answer, and if you're this good, they think your advisor is this good. If you're just a numbers game script, then you have to call hundreds of people. I could end up getting it down to where I could only have to call about 10 people, and I could convince one of them to at least take a meeting to be open-minded enough to take a meeting.
What was your target at that time per day? How many meetings did you need to set up in a month?
You really want to be setting up 2.
2 per day?
2 per day, which means you do 10 a week. One week I did 26, then a week after that I do 2. You know, it's random.
How many calls did you do per day?
I didn't used to do that many. You know, I targeted people that I then trained after that a lot more than me. I was better at finding people that had not had their phone, that don't get called often. If you have a number that's easy to find, like let's just say your number's out there in all the databases, you put your real number in. I still put my fake number in everywhere, but I put the last digit wrong everywhere I go because I don't want to get called all the time.
Yeah, my people who have not been in Dubai, you will understand quickly, because in real estate agents,
your number gets
call
out.
you.
Your number gets
you
out.
You put it in a concierge somewhere. That's it. You get brokers calling you every 5 seconds.
It is also the companies, I won't mention them, but there's companies here that call me more than anyone else, right? And I won't mention them, but I'm getting called now from a certain telecoms provider to install the telecom system that we've just installed with them. And I've just gone through a broker to get to that. And now they're trying to circumvent their own broker. I'm like, I've just set up with you. And I'm like, anyway, so we're not the worst.
Yeah, I have the same issue. My God, I have like 7 calls from these telecoms providers, all different ones, with brokers, plus them, plus others. And I'm like, guys, and nobody's able to come. Also, like, it takes them like 2.5 weeks to logistically provide me with somebody who can come and install it.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So what I was very good at was finding people that didn't get called very often.
How do you do that?
So you find people on LinkedIn that you want to target. They meet your criteria. They've got a good job, and they've got they speak the same language as you or whatever. And I'd just call their office and just ask to be put through. Now that means I'd have to dial a lot of numbers to get through to someone, but I'd catch people at their office, CEO of a company that was just finishing up for the day, and they just transferred me through. The receptionist just said, "Oh, you've got a call," and I'd just speak to them, and it was on the landline, so it was a bit more professional. I'd not call. They were obviously at their desk. They were not driving home or whatever, and how did you get this number type thing, And I got quite good at finding the people that were harder to get through to, because most people think that the more people you speak to, the more bookings you will make. And that's true to an extent, but what is also true is if you get through to those people that don't. So I used to dial a lot of numbers and not get through to people, but then the people I did get through to were quite hard to get through to. It was just a nicer conversation.
So it was a quality game for you.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a quality game. It's trying to get that number that nobody else can get through to through the right channels, and not through a buy away.
Just call the office. Call the office and ask to be put through. What's it regarding? Just say it's a business call. It is a business call technically, right? Just tell them it's Mark from whatever company I was with at the time, and they're having a good day, and they just go, I'll just take this call and say, look, I know I've called you at your office. I don't mean to. I know you're probably quite busy, but I just want to grab you for a couple of minutes. I know there's a load of wealth managers out here, but we are pretty different. We are pretty good. I'm not here to recommend anything to you. I just want to introduce you to my consultant who has been here for 15 years. He's very good, and just simple honesty for one. Don't try if you call me and you want me for something, call me and say, I'm trying to sell you something, and I'll respond much better than you calling me and trying to worm your way in and confuse me. And I'm still thinking, who the hell is this? So honesty, tenacity, and just generally being quite polite and knowing when someone really is saying no to you and just taking the hint and saying, no problem, thank you very much. If I was in charge of a country, everyone should have to do 1 year military service and 1 year cold calling people, because you're just a different person after it. You just pick up these simple, you learn tenacity, you learn work ethic, you learn conversation skills, you learn persuasion techniques, and it's just very, very, very humbling. And you're in an office all day. Bearing in mind, I was a DJ before. People were throwing shapes at me, and it was my own time and my own responsibility. But then I've got to now deliver. I'm sitting in an office on a phone looking at a computer screen, which is the opposite to this is my personality.
Yeah.
That is not. But I was like, you didn't go to university and get a degree. These are your hard yards. Suck it up and get on with it.
Was your first year in Dubai with very little money, no experience? I'm guessing not a lot of friends apart from your partner that you practically worked and lived with. Was that a really hard period of your time, or?
The first 2 years was hard, because even if you do well at that role, you're still not making more than I think the basic salary at that time. I'll tell you an interesting story actually. So I had £3,000 of credit card debt, and I had a suit and a suitcase, and that was about it. And he said to me, right, let's design your package. I can give you 6,000 dirhams a month and 20% of what I earn. Or I can give you 10,000 dirhams a month and 10% of what I earn. And I just said to him, which one would I make the most money doing? He went, well, that one if we're any good, that one if you're not very good. I went, that one. Of course I chose the higher commission one. So yeah, it was tough. You're not making very much money. And also, you know, there are certain companies out here that don't pay a lot of money, but then they get the housing and all that stuff. So I had not a lot of money and still didn't, you know, so I wasn't golfing at Jumeirah Golf Estates. I was golfing in Sharjah on a discount where my mate used to drive me. And I think their sprinklers were on at the time. So you got a cheap round because you get wet.
And so afterwards, 2 years in, you're starting to get successful. Did you now become an advisor after that?
Yep, I did. I took a few exams when I was in the business development role and took then several more exams in the first 6 months of me being an advisor. I went straight to the top of the leaderboard in the office for bringing in the most AUM because I knew how to call people and arrange meetings. So I did my own diary for a while, and then you get a little bit of revenue and then you pay someone else. And obviously I was good at then training people how to become, so I always got the best business development guy because they wanted to work for me because I'd done the role and I could teach them how to do it really well and
make money.
Yeah, and then you have your own little, and this is where the entrepreneurial job started because you get no support. You know, you get a computer if you want to use their computer and a telephone line and a brand, right? But the providers and the insurance companies and the investment managers, they don't want to give out, let's say there's 2,000 wealth managers here, they don't want to give out 2,000 terms of business and have to monitor it. So they want to, so you work for a company that you then have some sort of split on revenue on, but you know, if you want a PA, you pay. You want a business development manager, you pay. Your PA wants medical insurance, you pay. Like, you pay for everything. So, you know, sometimes you look like you're doing well, but actually when everything comes off it, you're not doing as well. But there are people in that industry, there are journeymen that just don't want to work in the corporate life. And then I know people earning millions of dollars a year. And they're just good. They just do everything right. They just sit with the right people and they're good at getting introductions to their friends. And they have the full setup, 2 business development managers and a PA and an associate that does all the paperwork. So they just do it. So you can build a proper business within a business. And the interesting part about being here in the wealth management role was, again, uncapped earnings. And every year you take on $10 million from clients or whatever, and then every year after that it pays you a little bit, and in your income just does this. Apart from I was getting paid mainly in sterling, and the dollar, if you look at the dollar sterling for the last 10 years, it just got weak. All the time I was earning more money, it was just getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And I'm like, come on, come on. That is obviously very entrepreneurial, but still, someone else will provide you visa, and someone else will provide you a website, and someone else provide you terms of business. And the things that you'll know that I now know, this is my full-on creating the company. You know, the name was created by, I've got ideas from a lot of people, but you know, the brand was created by you guys with my vision. So this is my actual proper entrepreneurial journey where you have to deal with the government and the visas and the PROs and the staff and the hiring and the firing, which I didn't really have to do too much. So this is me saying, from conception through to exit in however many years, this is I think the proper entrepreneurial journey.
So 10 years in, right? Financial advice, how long was that?
Almost 15 years, I think. Oh, no, yeah, 12.
Well, take me through what happened for you to stop.
Basically, I got to a point where I turned 40 at the same time as the company was going through a buyout. And I had other businesses on the side as well. There was a running joke in the office that they never saw me. I put in some good figures, I did some good numbers, but I set up a water company with my friend. I did a few other different things, and you know, I was always looking for something else to do whilst still running my clients. But it got to a point whereby I didn't really want to take on any more clients. So I'm thinking, now I've got a capped salary. I've got a capped income because I don't want to take any more clients on because I want to do some other things. So, you know, I always said that wealth management would get me to a stage where I would be comfortable. I don't what not people class as comfortable, but I was comfortable. Could have probably retired at 40. I wouldn't have been living the life that I want to live, but most people, you know, could have retired potentially on that and been comfortable. But for me, I'm just getting warmed up. So that gave me the ability to go pursue doing things that are more probably suited to me than finance. Finance was great, and I still have an investment brokerage that I'm looking to build at the same time when I get this place open. But this is more me. And I was 12 years in. I got offered a buyout. I just turned 40, and I thought this is a bit of a crossroads where if I carry on doing this, this is probably me forever. And to expand, then I would have had to take on another business development guy, probably an associate. And I was just like, no, this is, you know. Do you know, I don't know if you've ever done it before, but you're in a meeting with someone talking about something and you just think, I just feel like I've said this so many times. I am now bored of saying it. So my effort levels weren't they weren't there compared to what they had been. I wasn't thinking, how can I become a better wealth manager? I did for 10 years. And then after that, I was just like, I'm just ticking along now and I'm not happy ticking along. And at that time, obviously with turning 40, we got offered an amount and the company said, well, we'll pay you this much money to step down, step back from your clients, and we'll pay someone a salary to now take over your clients. Because with the wealth management industry, if you bring in that client and you meet that client somewhere, or you pay for the business development that goes in, you have a profit share that's well in your favor. Mm-hmm. But obviously for the company going through a buyout, they can massively increase their EBIT if they buy me out and then pay someone a salary to run my clients, and then the split goes completely the other way, right? So they pay someone whatever per annum, and like the banking system, the banking structure, right? The wealth management structure in the banks. So I was like, how much is it? And they went, we'll pay you X amount on this, and you'll get some shares. And I'm like, okay, so what's the deal? They went, no, it's cash up front. I was like, where do I sign? Where do I sign?
Get me out.
That's it. And I went, this couldn't have come at a better time. And I've got a knack for, I've twice now backed the right horse.
What was the first time?
The first time was with Chris, with my first business, because we actually, the company that then we left, the original company I'd done my training through, he set up his own, and I bought some shares from him, only 5% or whatever else, and I paid full price for them. And then we sold that company within 2 years, and I doubled my money. Oh, he was a good mentor, but I had to get it. I'm quite an easy student because I was asking the questions all the time. What about this? What about this? What about this? So he mentored me. He didn't ever say, right, I've planned this training for you next week. We're going to do this. It'd be me. I've planned training for you. I've blocked your diary out. Would you teach me this? So I was quite easy to be mentored. And then I was with another company. Started off as Arlo, and Arlo was the name of my friend's son. And my friend was building a business, and he was going through a tough time. It was hard. It was very, very hard. And he was, you know, when you can just tell someone's going to pull it off. Mm-hmm. Just the way he was talking to me. He reads books every week, and just what he said to me. He said, I will build this brand, and I will give you a good exit at some point. And I just went, you know what, I believe you. How can I help? So that was moving over, bringing on my clients, and then, you know, representing the brand and effectively being a bit of a cash cow for him at the time. And then it just grew wings, and they merged with another company, and then it was just off to this. So he did this for years and then just did this. Boom.
That happens often in entrepreneurship.
Exactly. And you know, there was a point where the company I owned shares in almost bought his company, which would have put me now in some sort of MD position of a you know, it's funny how things work, but then I wouldn't have been doing this. I'd have been in finance forever, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So everything happens for a reason, but he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And yeah, I'm forever grateful to those two people. One was more of a hands-on coach, one was more of a leader that I didn't need coaching at that particular time. And yeah, I hope to return the favor to someone at some point in future and mentor them.
Sometimes you meet the right people at the right time, and if you're ready for the opportunity and you can take the chance.
Or what's Richard Branson say? Take the chance anyway and then figure it out.
Jump from the plane and build your parachute as you fly down.
Funny you should say that. I'm doing a skydive on Saturday.
Don't make sure the parachute's already built, mate. I'm your client. I come in.
Yep.
What happens? Like, how do you take me through a process? What do I get? You know, what's the process like? I mean, you can't have no clue. I've heard about Sigma clinic. I've heard it's awesome. I saw this premium brand. I've been recommended by a friend or somebody to come in. But I'm not really sure what I'm in for. How do you take it forward?
So, good question. We would have initially, if you are new to health and wellness and longevity, we would have an initial discovery call. And in that discovery call, one of the business development team or the manager or the associate director would effectively say, this is, you know, what we do. This, you know, thank you for reaching out. This is what we do. And they will try and find out what your inquiry is about. So if you come and have you seen an advert which is to do with, you know, your skin, you want to look younger, or is it more to do with longevity, you want to live longer, or you want to be more healthy? So they'll try and gauge that, and then they would put you in front of the right doctor. Find a doctor that's the best suited to what you're wanting to achieve. So we have one doctor who is very, very good with wellness, but obviously doctors generally do everything, but very, very good with wellness and interested more in wellness. We have one that's more into performance optimization and one that's a little bit more into wellness and aesthetics. So they would put you in touch with the doctor. And then you would come to the clinic. The clinic would then welcome you with open arms, and then you would have your initial consultation, and in that consultation it would be a nice long sitting down and a discovery where they're trying to find out what you're actually trying to achieve. So if you look at we've called it an optimization clinic, but if you look at what that actually boils down to, you have your aesthetics, which is looking better, if you like. You have your everything from the longevity to the wellness to the weight loss, and they're just going to try and figure out what you actually are looking to achieve. What do you want to improve? Then they'd customize a plan based upon, how much time and energy and potentially money you want to put into this, and then they would start to roll it out. And a big part of what we're going to be doing is diagnostics. So checking your bloods regularly, checking your nutrients regularly, checking your hormones regularly. And then there's some tests that you should do that you don't need to do, like the genetic testing. You don't need to do that every 6 months because your genes don't change. So you do that. Maybe I'm going to do them next week for myself, actually, Alzheimer's, cancer, and a genetic test. And then once you have the blueprint, and then everything else can be, you would then get your bloods done every 6 months for hormones, for example. But the ones at the start, you don't need to do.
So the genetic testing, you do it in the clinic and then you send it out somewhere to get it sequenced?
There's labs here that are very, very good, but they're much more limited than Europe. So if you get something done here, for example, like you want to check your hormones or your resting insulin levels or baselines, and potentially like your supplementation levels, magnesium, zinc, those things you just do here, they're back in a couple of days. The things like the genetic testing and the cancer screening and all these, I think one of the companies that we're using, Nordic Labs, there are certain things you can do here, but they're actually, it would mean that the client pays more but they come back faster. I would rather the client pay less, potentially use Europe, but then they come back in a couple of weeks, and then we have a test they've not paid as much money for because the cost is higher here. So we're using a company called Nordic Labs. They've got 300 tests. So we're going to create the Sigma 6 or the Sigma 7, which would be 3 tests that you do at the start, like your genetic and like the ones I mentioned before. Then you have the ones that you have effectively every quarter to start with, and then every year after that, and it's all just kind of monitored. The other additional ones, like out of the 300, would be based upon questioning. So doctors would ask you questions about yourself and, do you suffer from bloating? Like these different types of things, that then it becomes a test that maybe only you would have. I wouldn't need that one. So that's based upon the line of questioning that you would go through with one of our lovely doctors.
I'll probably go for your Superhuman pack. What do I need to do to become superhuman?
I agree. I would the same, and I've had about 4 or 5 friends that have said to me, I want to test for everything. I didn't tell them there was 300 because they might have to remortgage their house. But this is
we said premium brand, right?
This is exactly why I set up the clinic, just because me and you are very similar. I would be the person that would say, test me for anything. Like I don't mind, being like, if I'm doing something, I'm doing it 100%. But some people might just want to have their bloods done, check their hormones, and we'll have a package for that as well. And we'll have a Superhuman one that me and you will be on.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, from my perspective, I'm now in my late 30s, as you can see. So yeah, I'm looking at optimizing myself. I got some patella issues, some knee issues. I just got myself on some peptide, BPC 157, TB 500. Started to do ipamorelin as well, just for muscle. Probably gonna put myself on Retra, because whatever everybody's doing it and everything is fucking amazing. And I want to be followed, right? I want to know that I can go somewhere and go, listen, guys, is it time for me to do my blood test? Like, should we not do a blood test after 3 months or whatever the cycle is for these meds or these peptides? And there are not a lot of places here specifically that are male focused, and that's your thing. So yeah, kudos. I mean, I will definitely be your first client. I mean, one of your clients for sure.
Good man. Look forward to it. We've actually from the word go, before we open, we have client concierge. So Hannah will be the person that would call you in 2.5 months and say, don't forget, you've got your blood work to do, and then at that point we'll send someone to your house to do it, and then you come back in for your consultation. And it's going to be very much a case of, this is where you're at right now, and this is where you want to be, and this is your journey to get there. So it'll be regular testing and going through, look, this is where you started and this is where you are now. Everything from facial scans to blood work through to, so it's, and then everything is, we'll obviously have the packages that there are certain things that every human body will probably benefit from having, right? Yeah. But then there are certain things that will be bespoke to you that maybe I don't need and maybe Izzy would need, and so that's where the personalization comes in.
Yeah, that makes
And we're
sense.
currently designing all these packages, and as we speak, I've got the doctors on designing the Live Forever package. I'm not sure we can market that because if it doesn't,
What if it doesn't work?
you said I was gonna.
Do you have an age limit here on patients?
No, it's anyone that wants to optimize themselves, and that could be any age. Obviously, the younger you start, the better. But the older people are, the more results they're probably gonna see.
How many people do you have on board now? How many consultants? How many doctors? How many staff?
3 doctors.
3 doctors.
We have this project grew wings. We were starting as an aesthetics clinic, and we were going to start with a doctor, and that just wasn't the brand. So the management consultant had ideas on helping me keep cash flow, overheads down, and as the project went on, it just grew wings, and now it's a full longevity clinic with not 1 doctor, 3, not 1 nurse, 4, and I think that's how it needed to be done. I had to ask the shareholders for more money, obviously, to get it done. I had to put more money in myself, and the shareholders have been fantastic. They when I raised money for this, they say you speak to 100 people and 1 person gives you money, right? I spoke to 10 and 8 people invested because I'd put a chunk of change in myself. So they were like, okay, he's not asking to do this for free and keep equity in the business. He's putting in a good, I gave myself a small discount on the shares. So it's been an expensive year, but yeah, it's the project's grown wings.
You have an asset now. This is not this is not something you can't resell. You could resell this, rent this out, this is a real asset. It's not just an expense and an investment.
One thing I didn't factor in though was my typical in finance. It's you have a holiday at Christmas, which is about 3 weeks. This year it's 5 days. So I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. Now I've got a physical location. Now I need to be around. So to answer your question, 3 doctors, 4 nursing staff. We have then an associate director, a HR, and as you probably know, in a small business, some people have two hats. They wear 2 hats. So we have Rebecca in HR and operations, and she still does some EA stuff for me. And we have clients. So on top of the non-medical team is myself and Lucy, associate director, Rebecca, head of HR and operations, Hannah, client concierge, and Chloe, who's a clinic manager. So we have like 3, 4, 7 in the medical team and 5 in the non-medical team.
For a male-only clinic, that's a lot of female staff.
And I know, I know.
Why did you feel it was a good idea to do a male-only aesthetics and longevity clinic? Because that's a very sort of niche kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Aesthetics, specifically in the Middle East, well known for women. Middle Eastern women love aesthetics, what you call this? Botox, lip fillers,
all this stuff, yeah.
All of this stuff, right? Massive industry here. Why go with the male only?
This vision started as an aesthetics clinic, and so many people that I know have come up to me over the years and said, "Do you get anything done?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a bit of Botox." Where do you go? Where do you go? And one day I just asked them. I just said, "What if I built a male up?" Yeah. When you build that, I'll come there, because I don't care. I'll go into a clinic and I'll sit there with whatever numbing cream on and get my face done, and there's women around. I'm just I don't care. But I think a lot of guys, to say they get Botox or fillers or whatever, they're still a little bit kind of taboo. They don't want to tell people. So my simple market research to start with was just to ask all my friends, what they thought about a male-only clinic. And I realized our research, it's not actually ever been done here. There's no men's only. And I started to develop the brand, and I'm thinking, well, my girlfriend at the time, Lucy, who was our associate director, she said, look, aesthetics is great, but everything's about health and wellness and longevity. And then I remember thinking, so I'm personally going somewhere for my Botox, and then I'm going somewhere else for my, hormones and peptides. And I'm thinking, why doesn't our niche just be male? That's our niche. So our niche is not aesthetics or longevity, it's men, right? But we do everything under one roof. Why not have a cherry-picked, the best doctor that you can find who's specialised in longevity and optimization? Why not have an aesthetics in one place? So it was a lot of asking people, and honestly, I don't think I've met anyone that said, and they might be biased because they're my friends, I don't think I've met anyone that said, that's a bad idea. They all said, actually, yeah. I've got friends that are messaging me all the time. Are you open yet? I want to come to my consultation. I'm like, just give me another week. You've given me 6 months. You can give me a week. So yeah, it was a bit of that. And it was also about speaking to the investors. I raised the money verbally with no pitch deck. I just said, I want to do this. And it was aesthetics at the time, right?
How did you find your investors?
They were people that I'd known for years. They were clients previously, or they were acquaintances, or they were friends, or one of them's a mentor. There's a combination of, and then some of their friends who wanted to put money in. We've got a few at 5%, a few at 9.5 now, because we've changed it around a little bit. Me at 30, someone at 20. The fit-out contractor is my investor. His investment was the fit-out.
Oh, the whole amount? No.
Well, no, we've gone over budget, so I owe him some money, which he's going to let me pay off monthly, apparently. So yeah, it was just, I said, I want to do this. And they were just like, that's a good idea. We want in. And a few of my ex-colleagues who hopefully will regret not putting money in when it's a super success, but they were the only two that were like, look, we don't understand healthcare. And I'm like, well, I don't either, but I will do.
That's an interesting pitch to give me your money. Why? We're going to do a health clinic. Okay, do you understand anything about it? No, but I will.
The doctors do. So there was just a combination of having the people in my network that I knew would be able to help me pull it off, people that I trust, mentors. Like one of my investors is a friend called Jeremy Harbour. If you look online, he teaches people how to buy and sell companies for sweat equity and mergers and acquisitions, and he runs a company that does mergers and acquisitions and IPOs, and he's bought and sold over 500 companies.
That's a lot of companies.
I really can't fuck this up. This is mine to lose, because there's people there that I can, the investors are all pretty successful in their own right. And then, so there's a combination of my inner circle, knowing the people, being interested in the business, it suited my personality and style, coupled with the fact that the investors were like, yeah, we'll give you money, because that's a big part of business, right? A lot of people could set up their own business if they could find the capital. I'd already found the capital, so I was now, right, that's the hard part done, which was actually quite easy for me. And the investment was fairly easy to raise because I literally have built this. It's taken me a year, and I only gave myself a 15% discount on the shares. So I paid I own 30% of the business. I don't mind sharing with you, it's cost us $1.2 million to set up.
That's a very
so I put in
big operation.
I put in just less than 30% of that, but gave myself 30% of the company.
Yeah.
And then I sold the remaining 900,000 for 70%. And I think it was easier to raise than normal because I'd put so much of my own money in. So rather than going to somebody, right, I'll do all the work, you pay for it all, and we have a 50-50 share. I've gone, no, I'm going to do all the work and I'm just going to give myself a 15% discount. Looking back, should probably give myself a bigger discount because it's definitely turned into a full-time role. But yes, it's a combination of all of the above. But having people in my network, having friends and family that I know would use the service, having friends and family that I know would introduce, having the money in my bank, being interested in the sector, it meeting my criteria, and
Stars aligned?
Stars aligned, mate.
It's incredible. I remember when you came over and said, listen, I need to open a holdco because I'm going to do a clinic. I'm like, you're doing what?
Yeah, you're doing what? There's already millions of clinics. There isn't a men's only. It's not a spa. It's not a cigar lounge. You know, but it also doesn't look that much like a clinic. It's kind of a nice, slightly manly place, minimal. The music's going to be good. I insisted on Bose speakers, as you can see up there, even in the garden. I wanted speakers in the garden. That pushed me over budget. I wanted the beds that, triple memory foam. That pushed me over budget. I wanted the backlit signs and the garden. In the fit out was like, you need to pay for the plants. I'm like, plants are fixed features. You pay for the plants. He's like, well, I have, but I've only got a budget of 30,000 dirhams. And I went, fine. How much does that get me? He went, bushes up to about here. I went, I want bushes up to here. Because one of our core values is discretion.
Yeah.
Discretion, excellence, results, and progress is our 4 core values. I was like, it needs to be private. So I want bamboos. He went, well, you have to give us some money and we'll get you taller trees. I'm like, okay, fine. So that type of thing. So from the look, the only thing I haven't figured out yet is the smell. And I'm torn between air purifiers in every room and say we've got the cleanest air in Dubai, or like a scent, like, when you walk into certain shops and it's like, that's Sigma smell. Yes, like the one in the mall. I love it. I just walk past it and standing up. It's a safe place for people to come in private and talk about whatever they want to talk about, whether it's health, wellness, longevity, aesthetics. So you might just get your Botox done and I might get my peptide, or I might actually, probably one of the people that does it all. And even like this outside area is nice enough, hopefully, for people to come on. Well, if you're in the area and you want to do a meeting, come here and do the meeting, sit here for 4 months of the year, probably not for the remaining 8 months.
In retrospect, would you want to have raised more money?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm in the process of. The investors are pretty open to it. We've come a long way, and we almost hit the budget. You know, it's tough to get right. The second one I'll get bang on. The first one was, you know, obviously user management consultant, and you know, the fit out contractors like, yeah, we can get away with doing this for X amount. And then you see the designs and it's like, yeah, no, you know, it's gonna be, and I'm like, look, the brand is premium. You need to deliver me a premium. I'll worry about raising more capital. I think at the moment clinics are quite transactional. Right, you go into a clinic, you get your Botox, you're in, you're out. It's like, thanks very much. How can I get out of here in 20 minutes? When you get, if you were coming here for an aesthetics treatment or a facial, at the same time, why not? Why could it not be enjoyable? Why could it not be an experience? Why would you not have an IV at the same time and a foot our masseuse will give you a foot massage while you're getting your... I don't want it to be a place where people come and just come in and out. Obviously some will, but I want to give people the option to actually enjoy it. You know, come in and get some whatever you want done and have a consultation. Go use the ice bath, whatever. Do you want a coffee? I'm Mark, nice to meet you type place. And if it's more appealing in that sense, hopefully more people come and they come back, right? You know, you take on 10 clients and if 9 come back, you're doing all right. If you take on 10 clients and 4 come back, there's a problem. And I think the building, the fit out and the standard that we've delivered here will help do that.
I hope you're successful with this clinic and this start. And looking at what you've done, I think there's a big percent of chance that this will be quite awesome. Yeah, fingers crossed. What's next after that?
Good question. So I have a business partner. We have an investment brokerage. I am still with no kids, so I don't have you know, a lot of the responsibility in that sense, which means I've got plenty of time. So I'll be the founder and founder. I already am the founder. I'll be the CEO of this, and also spend some time building my investment brokerage with my colleague Ben. But this is the main focus. What's next for this? Well, effectively what I've done here is create a blueprint for a man's only clinic. I can replicate that now. And I would rather replicate that when we get because obviously, you know, we're not open yet, right? We're opening soon. When I get some positive cash flow and we, you know, go to an investor or a fund manager or, you know, family office and say, this is what I'm doing. I would like to do it more. And then we roll out more clinics. I also want to open a female brand, and I want to do a roll-up, which for people that don't know is a holding company that owns lots of other companies, and the holding company is the one that you potentially sell one day, right? So this is number one, that's owned by a holdco and ADGM, structured kindly by GCG Capital. And I don't know whether I would like to do another male clinic first or the female brand. I'm not quite sure. I'd like to develop a female brand pretty quickly because my doctors have got a lot of female clients. And they're like, where can I put the female clients? I'm like, well, just give me a little bit of time to get some positive cash flow so I don't have to dilute too much of the company away.
I mean, if you're the only one in the market doing men's aesthetics and you're in Dubai, you're probably going to do all right.
I
Just
hope
about
so.
positioning and, you know,
I hope so.
having that ads working for you and converting.
Your marketing team hopefully are going to do a very good job. So far so good, but the results will obviously come next, right?
Yep.
And we're positioned as a clinic where people go to become the best version of themselves. For people that don't know, a Sigma male is like an alpha male, but the next one up. They're more independent. The S in the Roman and in the Greek alphabet actually is Sigma.
Yeah.
And we have you can't see it from out here.
That's the logo, yeah.
Yeah, so the Greek theme and
that's what Vlada did with the branding, with the logo, yeah.
There you go.
It might seem
There you
spot
go.
on the philosophy, yeah.
Know exactly what they're doing. You might come and see us for your aesthetics, and your version of becoming the best version of Peter is you go to the gym 3 times a week and you come and make sure your skin's in good condition, right? I might be just longevity. I might be like, do you know what? I want to biohack myself. I want peptides. I want my hormone replacement, and I want to do this. But my face, I'm not bothered. So we're going to facilitate whatever people want to do. Whether you want to look better, you want to live. Our packages are actually called Look Better, Live Longer. What I've seen from wealth management is a lot of people have kids late. I haven't had kids yet, I'm 40, right? So, you know, if I live to a ripe old age of 8, if I had kids tomorrow and live till 80, then, you know, that's my kids losing their father at 40, like I've just lost my father at 40, right? So I think longevity is becoming more and more popular. I believe people here, a lot of people are freezing their, you know, swimmers or eggs or whatever. It's becoming quite normal as a career-driven place to have kids later and later and later and later in life. And I don't know about you, but I want to still be going on runs with my kids when they're 20, which means I need to be healthy at 60. And for me, that's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, me too.
We don't need every man in Dubai to come and visit us. I need 1,000 loyal clients that want to be the best version of themselves in their own way, and we're a successful business, you know.
Yeah, I think you have more than enough customers here. If there was one large challenge in the last year that you faced, what was it from an entrepreneurial perspective?
That's a good question. I don't think there's been anything. Like I said before, when I first started this journey, I knew I had the people in my network to pull it off without learning any new skill sets. So there's just been lots of small challenges at the same time. I think the biggest challenge for me was coming at this with the level of tenacity that I had when I first started it, whilst I'm in the UK going through funerals and all that type of stuff, you know. So that was a bit difficult. Raising the money wasn't too hard. That had its challenges. For me, most likely not having an income has been a challenge. I've not had an income now for a good 6 months, which has meant that I'm eating into my own assets at the same time. So that's not challenging, but you feel the pressure a little bit, you know. There's been another business venture that I have that, let's just say, didn't work out. That was a big hit.
What was that? What happened?
So we were raising money for a company that basically forged all their accounts and misappropriated the funds, and I wasn't to know because they were giving me this information and they would,
oh my God,
you know, we're going to do this with your client's money. Okay, fine. I gave them a lot of my own money, and that was an income for me, which gave me the ability to do this without dipping into my own assets, which then changed.
How much money was that?
250 US for me.
Jesus Christ. How much were they paying out?
They were paying out, it was used for trade. They were paying out 18% per annum to clients and about 5% to us per annum, something like that. Their cost of borrowing, with no commission up front, so their cost of borrowing, let's say, is 22. For a commodity trading business where banks don't lend, typically, without security, that's not a too high amount to pay. It was sustainable. What they didn't tell us was that they only needed, for the trade that they were going to fund, which was trading precious metals, they only really needed $300,000 to do that, and they could have delivered the returns. So the strategy was fine, but what they didn't tell us is that they only needed 300 grand, and we raised them 3 million. So it turned into a Ponzi scheme, and the accounts we got were fake. So at the same time this year, I'm building this business, I'm recruiting people, I'm raising capital, I'm developing the brand and meeting with the website and designing this, and then, you know, I lost my father, and then I get back a month after I lost my father, and that happens, fraud case, which is now going into the courts because I have to be seen to take action. So if you find out a friend wasn't really a friend and he was lying to you, and stupidly enough, he hasn't got wealthy off the back of this, he's still not wealthy because he actually misappropriated the funds and the funds are gone. He hasn't siphoned them out. So that has been the biggest challenge at this point this year, for sure.
You had investors as well in there?
Yeah.
How was that to tell them, hey guys, money lost?
So what we said was, we're not going to take over that business because that business has got a $3 million hole in it. But we're going to set up another business, and we're going to try and still trade commodities because we have buyers and sellers, and we're trying to. Commodity trading is very difficult. It's very profitable, but there's so many moving parts. What product do you want? How much of it do you want? What quality do you want? What's your finance terms? What's your this? What's your this? What's your this? And there's a lot of lies. Like, I think 1 in 100 deals are real. 99% are just absolute fake. People time wasting and trying to get you to pay a deposit and then ripping you off when you're dealing with countries that are not as stand up as certain countries, let's just say, where a lot of the commodities come from. But we have set up a team that is everyone except the guy that was responsible for the fraud, and we are going to try our best to deliver and pay people back, even though the debt's not on me. I want to pay. We are trying, and my business partner Ben is ethically is the exact same as me. We're not responsible. We lost out as well. We lost more than everyone else, but we feel partly responsible. Maybe I should have asked him for his bank accounts every month. I don't know, you know. But if he's a mate, like if I was investing with you, which we do, you'd be pretty offended if I asked you for your bank accounts every month. So you're looking, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Looking back, I probably should have done and just said, look, even though we're mates, that's the DD that I want, and I want it on a quarterly basis. We did our DD, but the accounts were forged. You
know, the largest companies in the world get audited by KPMG, and it's all fucking fake. So it's, you live and learn. You also don't take for granted the fact that people can't pay out 18%. Variable maybe, but fixed is, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And committing to that is just, we're already paying out 12 and we have fuck all margin left to play with.
The margins in trading commodities is quite high though.
It is.
It's because they can trade quite quickly. They trade, metals can be flown on an airplane within 7 days. So they do 2 trades a month, and even if they make a 2% margin themselves twice a month. So the numbers actually stacked up, but it was just the misappropriation of the fund, just using them to try and get rich, trying to use other people's money. Basically, the clients have actually been sound, and a couple of them not so much, but generally 32 of them have been absolutely lovely. And they know I've lost out big too. They didn't give me too much of a hard time. I didn't let them put their life savings into it anyway. As a financial planner, I would never. And some of them actually wanted to put more in because it seemed like it was working. And I said, no, don't. And they're like, what's the matter? Don't you like it? I'm like, no, but I'm looking at your finances. You've got 5% of your net worth in this asset. Let's stop it at that. Just like I wouldn't want anyone to put more than 5% of their net worth in your assets, just because it's just common sense. Diversification, etc., etc. So clients have been good. And we mean what we say 100%. We're going to try and trade some commodities. We've got some deals on, and $3 million is not a lot of money to pay back. If we get 2 deals done, we'll pay people back in 6 months. So it's not too far-fetched. It's just finding those ones that aren't bullshit, excuse my French, right? Finding those ones that are actually real, where the buyer's real, the seller's real, their banking works, the finance works, the product's there's demand, and then getting it on a 12-month contract, getting some revenue in. And I would like to be slightly passive, but I would like to build a commodity trading business and grow it from start to finish and actually do it properly, because the guy that we were doing it with, we actually brought most of the buyers and sellers to him, and then he managed to mess it up, So I still think there's a potential market there to get involved in that at some point, but this is the focus as it stands right now. And the team, minus the person that was responsible for it, they were partly, but his name on the checks. We've kind of said, look, we've had your back to our investors. The investors know that you were involved as well, but we've said, look, the best chance we've got to pay you back is to keep these guys where they are. We go down the legal route with this other person because it's his business effectively, and he signed off on everything. They were just kind of passengers to an extent. And I'd like to still have that element of that passive, but let them kind of run with it, because let's be honest, we raised them all the money, brought a load of buyers and sellers, and they managed to lose it all, so they owe us. And we will do our best to pay the clients back. And I tell you what, that's a Netflix documentary if that happens. Because there's other things I can't tell you that I won't tell you right now, but there's certain things that the funds were used for that would make a funny documentary.
Oh, really?
If we pay people back, I will film myself traveling around the world with my checkbook to give people their money back and change their lives again for the better with a film crew, and go to Netflix and say, look, this happened, this is what we did. These are some of the funny bits you can, show people, and I don't know. If they take it on, that could be used to pay the people back anyway. But I don't know what they pay for a documentary, so.
That's awesome.
This year for me has been the best, worst year of my life, for sure. I'm finishing it on a high. I've met some amazing people. I've got some good business partners. This place will be open. There'll be customers coming through the door. And we've got involved in some other business ventures passively as well through my business partner, Ben. So it, on paper, has been a terrible year. At the same time, on paper as well, it's finishing strong.
Fantastic.
I'm not super spiritual, but apparently 2025 was always going to be rough for Sagittariuses.
Oh, here we go.
Apparently 2026 is our year. And my birthday was yesterday. So if it's true, and all Sagittarius have a good year next year, then the horoscopes are real. And I'm a believer.
Good for you, mate. Take it where you can.
Yep.
Mark, this was a lovely, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for telling us your journey, and being real about the hardships as well, because obviously, a lot of people see Dubai, you're a successful business owner, look at this clinic, and you've done financial management, and you went from nothing, and here you are now, but ups and downs, mate, ups and downs, and people need to know that entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
I hear a lot of people, and I heard it a lot when I was a wealth manager. What's your plan for retirement? Oh, I've not really saved any money. I'm going to set up a business.
That's not a good plan,
it's
mate.
a good job I'm here, isn't it? Because most businesses fail.
Yeah.
It's very hard to set up a business, I'll tell you, some point some of the things that I've heard people say about what they're going to do in retirement, and it's pretty comical. But you're absolutely right. It is, no matter how good your idea is, unless you've got relationships with people that will give you money, with an idea is great without capital. It's probably better to have capital to then come up with an idea than the other way around, right? So yeah, entrepreneurship is very ups and downs. And as you know, you've got 13 staff in there, and you could drive into work and you could be in an amazing mood, and then one person's having a terrible day, and then you have to counsel them, and then no one pats you on the back. You know, I've made a few decisions lately that people told me not to, that I did, and then they've been absolutely bang on. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but they were right decisions. And did anyone come up to me and say, you were right? No. I get compliments from people like you, compliments from my friends. Well done, well done, well done. But the staff, you are their leader, you are their counsel, you are their mentor.
It's supposed to be right.
Yeah, and it's that's part of the ups and downs at the same time. But yeah, like I said before, I've got the risk profile and the stomach and the work ethic for it. So for me, it's another day in the office and it's fun. But 100% this isn't for most people.
Do you plan on staying in Dubai for a while longer, or do you plan on moving back to the UK?
My previous role would give me the flexibility to work from anywhere. This role, less so now. And I think with the physical location of this and being the first men's only optimization clinic in the region and opening hopefully multiple locations, it's kind of tied me in now even more. If I look at the UK as an example, the longer I stay here, the better this place gets and the worse the UK seems to become.
Really?
So I've got no pull back to the UK financially, family, yeah, but they visit me here and I visit at home. Would I want to go back to the UK and get caught in the tax system again and, you know, try and build businesses there? Not really. Not when this place has, I love this place. It allows me to be me. It allows me to flex my entrepreneurial muscles and
your real muscles as well.
I like this place because, let's say, you've got an idea or you want help with something, you call someone and they're happy to help you because you would do the same for them. You know, no one's trying to be negative. It's more like, you've got a business, Peter, how can I help? I've got a business, this, you know, how can I help you, Mark? This is the mentality. I call it the go-getter mentality. You either employ people or you're employed if you're out here. In the UK, the weather doesn't appeal, the tax doesn't appeal. Never say never, but I'd like to spend some time there while remaining here. And I think the disparity between the two countries has got great. I think, you probably know this better than me, but the UK was a country in the world that lost the most millionaires last year.
Yeah.
And the UAE was the country in the world that gained the most. And that's out of 210 countries. I don't know.
Yeah, 200 plus countries, yes.
Yeah, edit that bit out. 200 plus countries. I like it. You're media trained. You're media trained.
Yeah.
And that's not a coincidence, is it? So I live in Dubai. I live in the UAE, and I'm from the UK. The UK seems to be going down the pan, and Dubai keeps doing what Dubai does and getting better. So for me, the answer would be, at the moment, can't see it. Not anytime soon.
Chances are that you will be successful here also because of this migration of people who are your clients, who will be coming here because typically millionaires are looking to live longer and look younger.
And Monaco's boring.
Also true. Also true.